Welcome to the Intimate Marriage Podcast, where I teach educated, successful couples how to have incredible, passionate relationships so that you can stop compromising and start feeling fully alive in your relationship. I'm Alexandra Stockwell, aka the Intimacy Doctor. I'm a physician, a relationship and intimacy coach, and I'm an intimate marriage expert. My husband and I have been married for 27 years. We have 4 children and full professional lives, and we've created an amazing marriage. I've shown hundreds of couples how to do so as well. So if you want to deepen your understanding of your own relationship and learn to access new heights of emotional, sensual, and erotic intimacy, you're in the right place. I will show you how. Now, let's dive in.
What does it take to revive your erotic connection or to expand it from whatever state of dehydration or juiciness you currently experience? That's the topic of today's episode. But before I dive into this yummy, delicious exploration, I want to invite you to my upcoming free masterclass. It's called 5 Essential Lessons Learned from 28 Years of Marriage on How to Go from Companions to Lovers. I have been married now for 28 years, and I had a very long, extended phase of being pleasant companions with a basically good looking from the outside, highly collaborative in many important ways, but fundamentally dehydrated marriage to a juicy, passionate, intimate marriage. And I'm going to be sharing the 5 essential lessons that I have gained during these 28 years. So please join me for free. The masterclass enrollment is at alexandrastockwell.com/masterclass. The link is also in the show notes. If you're driving, don't worry about it. It will be there when you arrive. You can just click on the show notes and register. And if you can't make it, it's happening March 22nd. But if you're not able to make it, no problem. We'll be sending the link out for the replay, which will be available for a week. So join me. I expect to share some things that you would think of and some things that may actually surprise you. They certainly surprised me, which is a good segue into our conversation about eros, erotic energy, erotic intimacy, sensuality. It is sexuality, but it's not only sexuality. I mean, you can feel an erotic connection as you sit at the table and see your spouse on the other side, even with a bunch of kids in between. You can feel an erotic connection as your spouse opens the door to welcome you home. You can feel, I can't even list all the things, but you certainly can feel an erotic connection when your erogenous zones are activated, juicy, either literally physiologically or just as a matter of soul and heart and yummy, ecstatic communion conveys. So that's all fine and good to talk about. But the real challenge for so many high-functioning, high-performing, well-educated professionals is that inherently eros lives in the unknown, in the unfamiliar, in the mysterious. It really can't be codified. And there's no component of automaticity when it comes to eros. What do I mean by automaticity? If you think of like learning to ride a bike or driving a car or so many other things, when you first learn them, you pay attention. Otherwise, you couldn't learn them. But then it becomes familiar. You build muscle memory and your body takes over without actually needing a whole lot of conscious attention for it to happen. There's a way, I suppose, in which that happens with erotic energy, meaning that you can go with the flow and you don't have to be so conscious and precise in controlling what's happening. So in that sense, you can let go of your conscious attention, but not because it becomes rote, automatic, happening even when you're thinking about world politics or the fact that you need to do laundry. So coming back to highly educated professionals like you got to where you are with good systems, good study habits, ambition and drive, keeping your eyes on the goal, and consistency. You showed up again and again and again, and you overrode your feelings, inclinations, and preferences. You might have been hungry, but you didn't eat because you were focused on what needed to happen. You might have needed sleep, but I won't even finish that sentence. As a driven person, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, well, all those qualities that serve you so well, which is basically to set your destination, chart your course, and proceed accordingly. Those are not the qualities that serve you when it comes to fueling erotic energy, growing connection, surrender, passion, and really the kind of exquisite experiences that defy verbal description. I mean, poets, I think of Rumi, does an amazing job describing the experience of union, but really, those are just reminders of an experience you yearn for or have had, because this is not a prefrontal cortex verbal phenomenon. This is a delicious embodied juiciness. And what I really want to tell you is that as a successful professional, you have developed your systems, even if you don't talk about it this way with yourself, even if you don't think about it, even if you consider your life to be somewhat chaotic. You only are doing the work that you're doing because you stay focused and keep your eyes on the prize and always have your destination clear, whether it's to finish the workday or finish your schooling or get to the next level, make partnership, whatever it is. You are focused on your goals in a way that isn't where Eros thrives. So where does Eros thrive? It's in infusing your life with creativity, not chaos, but spontaneity, variety, the unexpected, not necessarily the unsafe. I mean, in a kinky context, the taboo and potentially unsafe contributes to growing erotic energy, but I don't mean to be pointing to that right now. What I mean to say is that, well, when it comes to personal growth, going outside your comfort zone or to the edges of your comfort zone is where the alchemy, the transformation, the expansion, the new and better outcomes happen. Well, similarly, in a life which day to day feels monotonous, rote, a lot of automaticity, burdened, stressed, that's not where erotic energy flourishes. What can you do about it? First of all, I want to invite you to consider that the question really is not what can you do about it, but how can you be more of it? How can you become more of it? Because erotic energy is far more a state of being than any particular activity. So what does it take to be in that state of being? Well, it takes a certain amount of letting go of control because you can't direct where things are going. You cannot pick your route, whether it's the highway or back roads, and just be focused on getting to your destination. You need to be willing to take a detour, to pull over on the side of the road and have a picnic, to lie down in the grass and look up at the stars, or take a nap, stop in and watch a movie, even though you plan to get to whatever your destination is. Be willing to do what you feel like, because once you've achieved a level of professional success and you've created the partnership and family you desire, even if you haven't done that, quite frankly, but you're on the path, you're doing the things that move you towards your goals and accomplish the things you value, you also can make space for more creative adventure. It's not so much about having more sex as it is about opening up to a bigger range of experiences. And again, it doesn't even mean doing anything. It means allowing the pleasure to infuse you, stopping and smelling the roses, picking the rose that you're not supposed to pick. It means when you have your usual at Starbucks, getting something different, shaking it up. This can even be down to if you usually fold your hands together, have your left hand on top, start putting your right hand on top. Now, is that going to revive erotic energy and increase your sex life? No, but is it going to kind of be a kind of warm up and encouragement to doing things differently? Yes, it definitely is. So how to stoke the erotic energy in your body, in your soul, in your marriage, it's by doing things differently. And if you do things differently and you fall in love with doing them that way, wonderful. But at a certain point, you're going to have to do things differently again. You can come back to old familiar things, but being wedded to routine and expected, anticipated outcomes and proceeding in the usual way, that is the death of Eros. So, you know that saying, doing things the same way over and over and expecting a different result, that's insanity. It's also how many people proceed in their marriage. And as this statement goes, sanity and Eros blooming have a lot in common because it involves doing things in new ways. So what's a new way for you? Well, it really depends on you, your personality, your preferences, your risk tolerance, your sense of taboo. Doing things differently could be wearing different earrings than the ones you wear every day. And if you usually wear studs or post to work, wear something long and dangly and let yourself enjoy bringing more flavors of you into your day. It fits your personality in marriage that you usually have a few different ways of having sex and making love. Well, experiment with some other ways. Maybe you get a sex toy. Maybe you get some outfits and do some role play. Maybe you do what you usually do, but do it wearing blindfolds. Maybe doing things differently means having a different kind of date than you normally do. I'm really conveying a principle and wanting to spark your imagination and let the juices flow. And I mean that metaphorically, and I mean that literally. So here's another reminder as I wind up to register for the March 22nd Masterclass, 5 essential lessons from 28 years of marriage on how to go from being companions to lovers. And let what I've been saying just sort of marinate and inspire you. If you immediately can think of something you want to do differently, go ahead, do it differently. And if you're not sure, just have this perspective in mind. And as you're going about your business, doing things in a familiar way, whether that's how you communicate or how you have sex or how you think about things, let yourself play and explore and imagine other ways. And then even go for it and implement some of those ways you've thought of. I guess I really do want to say that if you're going to do something that's really different, you may have a spouse who, when you do things differently, is just going to love it. And that's going to enhance the erotic energy. And you may have a spouse who's just going to shut down or wonder what the heck you're doing. And if your spouse either is or might be that second type, then set things up for success. You can invite them to listen to this podcast episode. You can say, hey, I'd like to experiment, see what happens when we do things differently. If we like the way we always have, we can always go back to that. But let's discover together. I have lots of other episodes where I talk about how to introduce new ways of being with one another, but I just really wanted to make sure to encourage you to consider if that's going to create a more successful outcome if you give your spouse a heads up, or if you just sweep them off their feet with the invitation to new modes of erotic expression.